and welcome to a brand new series on the Daiwa Carp YouTube channel. This is effectively going to be a vlog that's going to follow my fishing, an insight into my personal fishing, the fishing that I get to do through work, and also an insight into my job at Daiwa. And we're away! We're away! Take long. Come on. That didn't take long at all. Rods has been out probably 20 minutes. What a way to kick off the vlog. Not a bad one to start. There we go. Looks like a Barney Rubble. What a way to kick off. Beautiful scale pattern. And also she's got white tips on her tails. Really pretty looking fish. Look at that for a start. Well, there we go. What a way to kick off the vlog. I was just doing the intro to camera and it absolutely melted off. And this is exactly the reason why I've come here today. We're in the middle of winter and, you know, bites are hard to come by at this time of the year. And this is why I came here. High stock, the fish are immaculate, and look at that for a scale pattern. Hopefully we'll get into a few more as we go throughout the day. Come on. Just want to show you the other side. Look at that for a fish. That is stunning. Let's get her back. There she is. What a fish that is. Let's slip her back. Come on. Well, what about that to kick off the series? As I was just saying just before that happened, this is a brand new series and it's going to be focusing on my fishing, my personal fishing, the fishing that I get to do through work, and also other elements of my job at Daiwa. If you're looking for a well-polished video, a really sort of well-edited, this unfortunately is not going to be it. This is more of a raw look into how I approach my fishing, tips along the way, and also a chance to talk to you guys as well. We get a lot of questions on the Daiwa Carp social media pages, and this might be a great place to sort of answer some of those questions as we sort of go through the session. We have got plenty of content that's well polished already on the Daiwa Carp YouTube channel, and there's plenty more to come. It's not a replacement, it's just something in addition, something to enhance that. And also stay tuned because we are going to be planning on doing some giveaways. There is going to be a giveaway in this particular vlog as well, so stay tuned for more information on that. We're going to be giving away one of our Infinity System Carryalls, so stay tuned to find out what you have to do to sort of enter that giveaway. But today I have come to Coking Farm Long Lake. It's a commercial fishery. We are still in winter, and at this time of the year I really like to get into a few fish, especially, you know, when I go out when the temperatures are really low. I like to stack the odds in my favour on the venue choice. So I've come here. I did come here on the basis that last month I went and filmed the Black Widow G50 rods and had a really good session. I was here for 2 days and I've banked 17 carp, and 3 of those were over the £20 mark, and every single one was immaculate. The scale patterns in here, all the fish are absolutely stunning, and for this time of the year it's a perfect venue for that style of fishing. I will be obviously targeting upper lakes along the vlog. I've got a Syndicate lake that I've got in mind. Also I'll be going out with the consultants, maybe hopefully getting the rods out overnight while I go out on filming trips with them. And you know, there's also the possibility of going to Europe, so there's going to be plenty of variation in the fishing. So hopefully you guys enjoy it, and without further ado, I've got all 3 rods out. I'm going to have a cup of tea now, and let's get on with the session. Lovely jubbly. So what I'm doing here, instead of putting in a handful of boilies at a time in the catapult pouch, in sending them out there, I'm putting in one at a time. Often I can find that this draws the fish into the area. Any fish in the area can often be drawn by the sound of that sort of like plopping. And quite often on this particular lake and on venues like this in the past, I have had it happen where I've been doing this and been having bites at the same time. So it's a really good sort of tactic on a venue like this where you don't want to be using the spod rod and it is predominantly boilie only. Instead of putting them all in at the same time, just putting in one at a time, just to prolong that sort of sound and vibrations going into the swim and the bait, can often lead to a bite. Oh, and we're away. Right hand rod. We're away again. I was just about to do a piece to camera and my right hand rod is ripped off again. I'm in a bit of a tangle here. It's gone round my middle rod because my middle and my right hand rod are fishing relatively close together, because I know it's a good area that fish like to hold up in at this time of year. So I wanted to try and maximise my chances. It's worked because that's 2 bites in relatively quick succession now. And you get, yes, fish number 2. Doesn't look, I think I managed to untangle it, which is perfect. Just double check. Yeah, it looks like we're all good. There we go, second fish of the trip. It's probably been an hour now since I've been here, and that's the same area that's producing the bite. Even though it's a right hand rod, I've got 2 rods fishing fairly close together with a spread of boilies over the top. And as I found on previous sessions, that is a tactic that works. So what I'm going to do, slip this one back, and then I'm going to run you through sort of the setup that I'm using to catch these fish. So let's slip her back. Well, there we go. A little bit of chaos. I was just slipping back that off one that we just had on the right hand rod, and my left hand rod absolutely ripped off. And that was the one that I've had roving about the swim, and I cast to a show about half an hour ago, just off behind that island, and it absolutely melted off with this common. A bit of a unusual body shape, a little bit deformed, but definitely one you'd recognise. But the bites keep on coming. Well, whilst I've got both rods out of the water, just going to go through the tactics that I've gone for today. So on 2 of the rods, I've got this particular setup, which is a German rig with a 15mm live system wafter, and I'm putting a little PVA mesh bag of live system matched hatch boilies as well, with a bit of crumbed up as well. And I've got 2 of the rods on there, and they're both pretty much tucked in behind that island, one real tight and then one about 10 yards off. It's a tactic that I've caught on really well here before in the past, so that's why I've got 2 of the rods out. And then another one is this is my roving rod, so I've got a little white NS1 dumbbell on there, and exactly the same. I'm putting on a little mesh bag of live system when I'm casting it out, and that's just on a Ronnie rig, and that's just going to nicely sit up just above that. I always like to have my hooks laying flat. I just think it's a much neater presentation when it's on the deck, and I don't want it overly critically balanced. I want it so the hook is pinned to the lake bed. And they've both produced bites now. Like I said, this is my roving rod. I've done well on this as well. On my last session, I found that this actually picked off the better fish, roving it around sort of mid-water with one of the bright white dumbbells. So that's what I've gone for today, and so far so good. So let's get 2 new baits on it, 2 new bags, and get it back out in the lake. All the lakes here at Coking Farm really are quite small in size. I mean, this is one of their bigger lakes, I would have thought, and you know, I'm going to be casting probably 30, maybe 40 yards at maximum to islands and features like that. So today I opted to bring with me the 10-foot crosscast EXT's 3-pound test curve, and I've paired them up with the Whisker 25 QD reels, and I thought it's probably a good time to go through. We get a lot of questions on the Daiwa Carp Facebook page and social media channels, and me personally as well, in regards to what sort of reel we recommend pairing up with the 10-foot rods and the the EXT range in particular. And in terms of balancing out the rod, we would recommend something of a reel of this sort of size in our sort of 25mm spool stroke category, sort of like the mini big pits. So with like the Black Widow EXTs, we often recommend the Black Widow 25As because it balances out the rod nicely. And let's be honest, you're not going to be chucking it huge distances when you're pairing up a reel with 10-foot rods, because you'd be using something like a 10 or a 12-foot rod, sorry, a 12 or a 13-foot rod if you're going to be casting extreme ranges. And that's where your big pits, your 45mm strokes and 35mm strokes are going to come into play. But something like this, the Whisker 25 QD, the Black Widow 25A, or even some of the bite and run reels that we do would be a perfect matchup with the 10-foot rods. Like I say, it is one of our most asked questions on the Daiwa Carp page. Hopefully, for those of you that are in the market for a reel that you want to pair up with your 10-foot rods, that's giving you a little bit of guidance on sort of what we would recommend. Obviously, it is down to personal preference as well. I know a lot of people do match up their 10-foot rods with big pit reels and absolutely love it. So it is down to personal preference as well. But we find that those smaller reels, if you're using the smaller rod, those smaller reels balance out that setup very nicely. Well, another screamer. The left-hand rod again. I just chucked it out about 15 minutes ago after that common we had out there. Same spot, same area. It's melted off again. I just sat down to have some lunch. But the fish are definitely up for a feed today. This is a great thing about coming to these sort of venues during the winter. Plenty of action, or there's a possibility for plenty of action. I mean, there's plenty of times where I've come to these sort of venues before in the winter and struggled to get a bite. Oh, he's gone off. He's going over my upper line. In the net, lovely jubbly. Right, let's try and sort this out a minute. Well, there we go, fish number 4, left hand rod again on that white NS1 dumbbell wafter. And I've got 2 spots doing the business now. So that's 2 fish off the left hand island, 2 fish off the right hand island. It's looking like it's a good day. It's only just coming up to midday. I was just having some lunch and that left hand rod ripped off, but let's get the rod back out and hopefully bag ourselves a few more. There she goes. Let's get the rod back out. That's better. So what other fishing have I been up to apart from today's session? Well, about a month ago I took a trip to my Syndicate lake, and that was predominantly to do some product photography, but I did also manage to sneak the rods out as well. Well, I'm back out on the bank and it is a chilly morning this morning. It's the first frost we've had in a good 2 to 3 weeks, and it's a nice clear sky, but the problem is the pressure has skyrocketed. So it's not ideal carp fishing conditions, but that's not the main aim of why I'm here today. I'm actually at the Syndicate. It's a beautiful old lake. It's roughly 6 to 7 acres maybe in size. It's quite a narrow lake, but it covers quite a length, with islands breaking up the sort of the centre of the lake. I think there's 5 or 6 islands going down the centre with some channels, and it's a gorgeous lake, especially in that spring sort of summertime. But I'm here today to do some product photography of our current range. So I've got some reels, some rods, and some luggage, potential new luggage items coming as well. So I'm going to be mainly focusing on that, but it would be nice to winkle out a carp or two. Like I say, conditions aren't great. I'm not really expecting a lot. There have been a few fish coming out in the mild spell, not as many as I would have thought. So it's not fishing great at the moment. So it's a case of, I'm on my second lap of the lake now. I've already done 1 lap, haven't seen anything. I wasn't expecting to, and I'm halfway through my second lap and still haven't really seen a lot to sort of go on. So I think I'm going to go back to the van, grab a kit, set up in these sort of areas that I've heard of some fish coming out, and see how the day goes, whether we move about later on this afternoon. Once I've got the majority of the photography done, I might then move about and try and winkle a carp out. We'll see how it goes. Without further ado, let's get back to the van. Well, I've just come round to the far corner. I don't know if you can see that. Let me try and zoom in. Just seen a few bubbles come up close to these reeds. I was just on my way round to the van. The only way I can sort of access that is from that swim, just sort of over here. But if there's one in the area, that might be signs of things to come. Well, those bubbles were the first signs of fish that I've seen on the first 2 laps of walking around the lake. And it's actually in sort of a quiet area. I know the owner often feeds them down there. So you can often find that they can be stacked up in there, but there's only one sort of swim that accesses that water, and that's on the far bank, and it'll be casting over and sort of next to those rushes and under some overhanging trees. I mean, it's a perfect feature for them at this time of the year. It's going to hold a lot of warmth and a lot of cover, and you know, it's the only thing that I've seen, so it'll be stupid of me not to go around there and give it a try. It's only the one set of bubbles. I did spend another 10 to 15 minutes just watching the water, and they didn't come up, reappear, or didn't see anything else, but it's the only thing I've got to go on. So for at least for the morning period, I'm going to barrow the kit round to that swim and sort of see where we go. At sort of lunchtime I might reassess it, but you know, you've got to be in it to win it, and that's as good a sign of fish that I've seen in the last sort of half an hour. So let's go and get a few rods on it. Well, on my way back to the van, I've just noticed this lovely little spot with a few bubbles sort of coming up, and I've just nipped back to the van. I've grabbed some maggots, got some boilies there on the floor. I'm literally just going to put in just a few handfuls. Just to maybe prep an area for later on. Well, this is where I saw those bubbles come up just on my walk around. I've got some maggots here and just a handful of boilies. I'm just going to push together and squeeze together like so. Just chuck them in just off the edge of these reeds, just to save me sort of having to use a catapult or use a spogs. It's not the water you want to be using a spod to spot some maggots in. And it's only just a short sort of throw, underarm flow, just to get some bait on the spot. These have just come out of the bag from the shop, so they are still a little bit lifeless, but it won't take them long. Sort of spring into life. Put one little handful there and a bit further out as well. It's perfect. Well, all 3 rods are now fishing. You just see them there over my shoulder behind me. I've got one out towards that sort of area that I've been baiting up and saw those patch of bubbles earlier, and the other 2 I'm sort of going to rove around. I've got one on the far margin, and I've got the left hand rod I actually put over to the reeds just behind me there. And as I was sinking the line, I had a savage liner. It pulled up real tight. I thought it was going to be away straight away, but it sort of dropped off, and it did feel like a big fish. There are a lot of nuisance fishing here, but it was either a carp or a pike. There's a lot of pike here. I've seen a few thrashing in the margins already this morning, but you know, the way it sort of went off, it definitely seemed like a decent sized fish. So you never know, there might be a few definitely in the area. I'm going to crack on with some photography now, and hopefully we can winkle out a carp. Well, that's the photography done for the day. I've got an hour or 2 now before it gets dark, and nothing has really materialised from the spot that I was fishing. I've got the barrow over my shoulder, already loaded, ready to go. I think I'm going to head off down the upper end of the lake just to see if I can see any signs. Nothing's really happened here. Been trying to keep an eye on the water as much as I can, and haven't really seen anything. Did a few recasts with some of the rigs just to see if I could find anything, or you know, stumble across a carp, but nothing's really happened. And we've had this sort of breeze, this real cold north breeze come across, and it's, to be honest, I think it's just killed it. It is a really cold wind. I think if there are going to be any fish, it will be on the back of it. So I'm going to head down that area of the lake, maybe get the rods out for an hour before it gets dark, and see if we can catch one. But one thing I'd always recommend, if I'm doing a day session, if it was just a normal day session like today, then always fish off the barrow. I don't really take the kit off the barrow if I'm just going to do a day session. It gives me less of an excuse to sort of move, swim, or go on to other signs of carp, or try and find them, really. And that's what I love about the EXT range of rods as well. They're so small pack down. When you put that butt section back into the butt, the semi-telescopic section, they're really short on the barrow, so you don't have to pack down the rod or do anything fancy. It's just a case of chucking them on and then wheeling off. So gonna head down that way, see if we can spot some fish and give it an hour. I've decided to drop into a swim peg 9 because it gives me quite a lot of water here to go out. Down to the left you've got the main channel, straight out in front there you've got a cut through between 2 islands, and exactly the same there, another cut through, and then you've down to the right you've got the main body of water, and that's where we were fishing right at the end earlier on today. And you know, the idea of this series, it is going to be to show you, hang on, let me turn you around. The idea of this series is to show you sort of what my fishing is. It's not always going to be 24 hours, 48 hours on the bank. Sometimes it is these little windows of opportunity, just a couple of hours here, a couple of hours there. But on a lake like this, I'm still in 2 minds of whether I'm actually going to rejoin for this coming year. I haven't done a lot of time on it as of yet, not as much as I'd like to, and there are still some good fish in here. I'd like to catch some really nice commons, some, you know, 30-pound ghosties as well that I really like to catch. So I'm still in 2 minds. I think I will continue because, you know, it's somewhere where I can come. There might not even be enough wrangler on the lake, and in carp fishing today, that's a bit of a rarity, so it is nice to have that option. But like I said, it is going to be showing you these couple of hour sessions, you know, where I've got the chance of nicking a bite, and you know, sometimes, more often than not, it does pay off. But on this particular lake, it is a tough lake, and like I say, it's not fishing well at the moment, so it was always going to be, the odds were always going to be stacked against me. But on this type of lake, having those couple of hour sessions can really start to build that picture for the main sort of campaign, if you like to call it that. if I see any sort of signs, like I've seen that fish down in, you know, those bubbles down in peg 1 earlier on today, gives me an idea of where I would start to look next time. And also if I do see anything now until dark, that gives me something to go on my next session. And you know, that little bits of information can start to really complete that jigsaw puzzle and sort of help you put more fish on the bank when you come in future sessions. So it's always worth, if you have got a bit of time, even if it's just to walk around, come and have a walk around on these sort of lakes and venues and get to build that picture. Well, just a match lake behind me, there is a number of carp just absolutely thrashing about on that far bank. I don't know if you can see them there. One might come up again. Right, but those last sort of 30 to 40 seconds there have been 4 or 5 different carp absolutely crashing head and shoulder in just on the match lake that's just behind the Syndicate. Makes me want to chuck a rod out there, to be honest, get a quick bite. Well, that didn't take long. Literally had the rods out probably 5 minutes. And we are away. There are some decent fish in this lake, to be fair. They do go up to sort of the mid-20 mark, so there's always a good chance of catching a decent one in here. This doesn't feel that sort of size, but it's just nice to be into a fish, if I'm honest. Not a bad one. Might just be pushing double figures. Might be being a bit generous there. But it's definitely nice to be into a fish. Now, it's been hard work over on that Syndicate, not much to go on. It just goes to show that, you know, if you can find a group of fish, and it's always worth chucking a bait out towards them, because they give away their location and you usually find the majority are there, and it could often lead to a quick bite like it has today. There we go. Come on, that saves the blank. Well, there we go. The rod was probably in 5 minutes. Didn't take long at all. Just goes to show that 5 minutes in the right place is better than spending the rest of the time in the wrong place. It's been tough work over on that Syndicate today. Not much to go on. The fish haven't been giving the game away easily. They never really do, especially at this time of the year. But just a bit of opportunistic angling, walking back to the van with the gear on the barrow, spotting those few signs of fish, or those fish crashing just out towards the island, and 2 rods out towards the area has done the business. And you never know, there might be a chance of another one. I've got the other rod back out, and I'm going to give it another 10 minutes, see if another one comes along, and then it'll be time to pack up. But that's what it's all about. Let's slip her back in, see if enough one makes an appearance in the next 5-10 minutes. Well, it definitely wasn't a bad idea to get the rods out over on the match lake after spotting those signs of fish. 5 minutes in the right spot and the rod was away. So I've only got the one rod out at the moment. I'm going to bring that in. That hasn't done anything in the last couple of minutes since I slipped that fish back. Bring that in, pack away the gear, go back to the van, and then I think the next time you're going to see me, I'm back out on the bank next week, and hopefully we can put some more carp on the bank. Well, here we are. I don't know how well the mic's going to pick me up because it is a Baltic conditions. We've got a real northerly wind coming straight across the lake, which is turning to a northeasterly later on tonight. We're at Linear Fisheries on Brasenose 2, and just around there is Lewis. He's currently just setting up, getting everything ready for us to do some filming of the new top end rods that you would have seen me with out on the reservoir last week. I've just got my kit set up, as you can see behind me, and I have been putting a bit of bait out. I found a spot while Lewis is setting up. I found a spot for me to put the rods out overnight once we've got the filming wrapped up for the day, and I've just been putting some bait out, so I'll run you through what I've been putting out. Well, this is the swim that I'm going to be fishing later on this evening. Like I say, today is mainly going to be getting as much content for the rods as we possibly can. Lewis is just in the swim next to me. He's just setting up his rods now, ready to go for the filming, and I've just put out some bait, and this is what I've been spomming out over the spots that I'm going to be fishing. So we've got a nice mix of sweet corn and live system boilies in there that I've had the boilie soaking for the last couple of months in live system booster mix, and then we've got 6mm squid pellets in there that I'm adding to the spom on each spom that I'm putting out there. And like I say, I'm not fishing that far out. We've got a northerly wind at the moment, and it has been sort of gusting quite hard, and it's probably the calmest it's been in the last couple of hours since we've been here. And I'm only fishing, I think it's 20 wraps out, so a nice comfortable casting distance to make sure I can get the bait out and get the rods out nice and quick later on this evening. But that's the report at the moment. Like I say, I'll update you on what sort of tactics I go with later on. We'll see how the day goes. We've got Lewis obviously fishing. If he picks something up, that might change my decision on what I do overnight. So I'm gonna go set up the cameras now, get ready for the filming, and then I'll probably get back to you later on this evening. Well, this is what I'm going for. I've got one there on a solid bag, a real dumpy one that's gone a bit misformed in the bucket. It's been in there about 2 months, so time to get that one used. And then over here, I'm just going for my normal, I always use a German rig if I'm going to use a wafter. It's caught me so many fish over the years in just a small PVA mesh bag of some 10mm live system there, and it's already got, as you can see, I've already got one of the rods out. That's out on a solid bag. They're all three going out to the same sort of area, which, like I said, is 20 wraps. Just out towards, there's a bush on the far margin. Don't know if you can probably pick it up. Let's see if I can. Just over here, about 20 wraps, a nice clean gravel area. Real big sort of in space. Only further out, and then I was getting a lot of weeds, so I've come this side of the weeds. Like I said, there was a big northerly wind making casting and baiting up difficult earlier, so I've just turned you around. So I'm just going to get those next two rods out, and then we'll be fishing, and it's not going to be long before it's going to be pitch black, so it'll be time to get the dinner on. Hopefully we can get some fish throughout the night. Unfortunately, as of this moment, we haven't had anything. It's been bleak conditions, and apart from those few fish that we saw earlier, we haven't really seen a lot, and it doesn't look like there's a lot of fish coming around the lake. I mean, we haven't seen anyone catch, and speaking to the bailiff, it hasn't done a fish today, so not the best conditions, but we'll get the rods out there, and hopefully we can get one through the night. All three rods are out, all on the same area, and it is going to be a cold one tonight. We've got an easterly wind forecast in the next few hours with rain, which is going to be blowing straight into this swim, straight into this direction. It's going to be a very cold one, meant to go down to about -3. And we've got some sort of duck over here that's decided to be my mate, seems to live here. He's been settled in over there for most of the afternoon, so I think he's going to be keeping me company tonight. But on a scale of 1 to 10 on how confident I am, you know, conditions not great. This is the first bit of bad weather we've had in probably coming up to 10 days, so not overly confident. It's just going to be a case of trying to nick a bite. If a fish passes through, I don't think it's going to kick off. I think it's just going to be a case of getting that one fish that decides he wants a bit of bait. So let's see what happens on the night ahead. Well, that turned out to be a very uneventful night. Both myself and Lewis didn't result in a bite between us, apart from he did have some sort of occurrence on one of his rods where it sort of dropped back, and as he got to the rod there was nothing there, whether it was a duck or a swan that wiped him out, or whether he just had a savage liner, we don't know. But it's been very, very quiet on the fish side. Haven't really seen anything. It's the conditions are looking extremely bleak at the moment. Let me just switch the camera around. And there we go. The conditions, like I say, are pretty bleak. Easterly wind driving straight into us all night. It's been non-stop rain. Haven't heard anything in the night. In this morning I've been watching the water whilst I was having some breakfast and a cup of tea, first cup of tea of the day, and didn't really see a lot. But let's take a look at the kit that I brought with me. I've got the Infinity X45 rods there in a 13-foot 3 3/4 pound test curve, and I've got on them paired the Tournament Beziers 45 SCW QDs, and I'm using the Tournament ST line 12 pound, and then I've got 30 pound shock leaders to absorb the cast. And that's sort of the setup that I'll bring up to somewhere like this, because it allows me to fish at the maximum range that I would, whereas something like a 10-foot rod, you know, that would really restrict what sort of distances I could hit. So I'd always recommend bringing sort of the rods in the kit that's going to allow you to fish at sort of the maximum that you might have to, because if the fish are showing long range, you want to be able to hit it. But for now, I'm going to reel the rods in. Unfortunately, that is going to be a blank overnight for me. You know, I wasn't expecting much. It wasn't looking great last night. I've just had the 3 rods over some bait, just on the odd chance that a bite might happen. But now the focus, we're just coming up to 8 o'clock. It's just getting light enough for me to start doing a bit of filming again. Gonna grab the camera, head over to Lewis's swim, and do a bit more filming of the rods. Then we might even head up to the upper end of the lake, just have a look, see if there's any fish in the area. Because I noticed when I went round yesterday to get some footage, it was a bit of a different climate up there, but we had spotted fish in Lewis's swim earlier in the day, so we stuck it out. But you know, with not much to go on at the moment, it might be worth taking a look up there. Well, as you can tell, I've had a bit of a tough old month on the carp fishing front. Haven't been out anywhere near as much as I would have liked to, and when I have been out, I have struggled, I'm going to be honest. Oh, and we're away! We're away! One. I think that's fish number 6 now. What a day, what a winter day session we're having. Oh, double take. Come on. Well, a double take, and it's resulted in probably the 2 smallest fish of the session so far. But that's what winter's all about, having a bit of fun, bit of action. What more can you ask for? And the second one is even smaller, but take a look at this one. Look at the colours and the scale pattern on this. You know, he's only a couple of pound at the minute, but imagine seeing that at the bottom of your landing net, 20 pounds bigger. What a fish that is. And even the upper side, just slip around, even that side, look at that, that's a stunning little fish. Let's get him back. Well, how typical is that? I was just saying to the camera, like, I've been struggling with my carp fishing this month, which I have, and I go and have a double take. It just, that perfectly sums up winter carp fishing. You know, you're going to have a lot of sessions where it is going to be tough, the conditions are going to be rough this time of year, and then on a day like this where the conditions are ideal, the venue's right, there's a good chance you're going to get multiple bites. And I think we're up to fish number 7 already so far today. You know, we've got a few hours left. I'm only here for the day. You've got the option for the night, but to be honest, I'm happy just coming for the day. I knew I could get a few bites. And here's the Infinity System Carryall. One lucky winner is going to be winning. Obviously the one that you'll be getting will be brand new. This is the one that I'm using today. And before I give away the details on how you can win one, I just wanted to run through sort of the features and sort of how I use my particular carryall. So we've got 2 comfortable carry handles there, a nice shoulder strap if you want to carry it on your shoulder. Obviously most of the time it's going to be on your barrow. We've got 1 long front pocket where I actually keep my buzz bars and rod rests. So obviously I've got down there. Got my forceps, pockets here. 3 smaller pockets, 2 mesh pockets. I've got my snag ears in there, just some handy pockets, some PVA mesh, and then over to the side pocket, you've got 2 of these, 2 big side pockets. In here I like to keep 2 of the smaller EVA pouches, and as you see I've done some prep there with some PVA mesh bags of live system. Got my leads in there. Over here I've got the larger accessory pouch in there that is got all my electricals in there. I've got a charging block just on top. And then in the main pocket itself, I've got my rig safe that just sits on top, catapult, and then I've got 3 of the medium accessory pouches. I've got 1 there which I've got a bit of camera kit in. I've got the F1 here where I keep all of my sort of baits. I can open it. As you can see, I've got all my pots of pop-ups in wafters, in liquids. And then I've got 1 for my scales, and then I've got the Corda tackle box in there. 2 mesh panels where I'll keep a few little bits in a bag just for some rubbish there. And that's the Infinity System Carryall. And I'll go through how to win that in just a second. So how can you win yourself one of the Infinity System Carryalls? We've got 1 to give away to 1 lucky winner. All you have to do is you have to subscribe to the Daiwa Carp YouTube channel. Have to be a subscriber, like the video, and then comment your favourite season for carp fishing, whether that's winter, autumn, spring or summer, and why that is your favourite season for carp fishing. Answer in the comments, and then we'll pick out 1 lucky winner. Our favourite comment will win, and the winner will be revealed in the next episode of the vlog. Well, I'm not going to get him out on the bank. I've unhooked him already, but enough for one like the one we had earlier. Maybe £3, something like that. Well, definitely one for the future, but imagine that at the bottom of your landing net when that's a 30-pounder or a mid-20. You'll certainly be chuffed to bits with that. And they are in here to that sort of size with that sort of scaling as well. That's what we're after. And away she goes. That's going to be it for today's session. I'm going to leave the rods out now for about 5 or 10 minutes. We're just starting to lose the light over my shoulder, pack away the upper kit, and then I think I'll knock it on the head. But thank you very much for watching the first episode of the vlog. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. Leave a like if you have, and a comment. Let us know your feedback. And until next time, I will catch you later.